Know when you're ready, Dre. Welcome, members. Welcome, viewers. I'm Stephen Nicholson. I'm CEO and President of RMA, the Rocky Mountain Association of Entrepreneurs. Today, I have two special guests, Ahmad Pasley and Jonathan Martin here, and we're going to talk today about the project they're doing together called the Confrontation Project. We want to discuss some points in there, how they got here as well. But first we're going to go to a little intro video of the project. So bear with me 1 second here. Here we go.
Consumed 4 years of my life. Hi, my name is Ahmad Pasley, and I'm raising money to tell my story, our story. In this, you will hear things that we can't say without being labeled a racist, anti-white, anti-black, anti-BLM, anti-law enforcement.
When Ahmad first reached out to me, he did so via email. And I was reading it, and he said he had this idea that if he could just collaborate with somebody to help bring it to life, it could be big.
There's nothing politically correct about this script. It explores the relationship between the African American and law enforcement community and exposes many of the hypocrisy that lies within both communities. For example, the don't snitch culture that's prevalent in the African American community is contrary to the Black Lives Matter message. In law enforcement, the corollary is the blue wall of silence, which undermines community outreach efforts and justice. I want you to know that I've conducted both on and off the record interviews in several cities and states with members of both communities, and I've read extensively on the subject from books to peer-reviewed studies. I also want you all to know that I am an ex-con, recovering addict, but I'm also a poet, author, and a college graduate. I was released from prison in 2005 and haven't returned. I personally have experienced brutality, but I also realized the need for the presence of law enforcement in our community.
This is a unique project. It's something that I haven't seen before, and I don't know, quite frankly, that it's been done in the way that we're trying to do. I appreciated the story that Ahmad brought to me because personally, I identify with both sides. I'm a black man, and I got a lot of cops in my family, retired, current, active. And this allows us to tell a story from every angle. A lot of times I don't think people are blatantly ignoring things. I think there are just perspectives that they're not privy to, that they're a little ignorant to. This film is an opportunity to show every side of the argument. And the whole thing is basically poetry, rhyme, spoken word, all written by Ahmad, and something that can be digested and appreciated by everybody.
I'm a poet and a playwright. This was originally written for the stage, but because of COVID, it was hard to get this on stage. So I made a few modifications to the script, and now it is ready for film. Although writing this has been a tedious, rewarding, enlightening, and at times heartbreaking and overwhelming process, I strive to write it from a position of neutrality. And I think I accomplished that. And for me, that was a monumental feat because the information that I was receiving via interviews, reading, and watching was perspective shift. The goal is to help the audience and the wider community to move beyond the surface conflicts and address the root causes of mistrust, anger, bias, and violence. The ultimate goal is to encourage the establishment of a collaborative relationship instead of a confrontational one between law enforcement and people of color.
Now is the time that we need this project more than ever. We live in a world where it's chaotic, it's violent, it is angry and divided. And I really do believe that this is the type of project that can shine light on different ways of thinking that might help unite people. You know, it's really easy to scroll on a Facebook timeline and pledge your allegiance to one side. It's another thing to try to do something to change it. And that is the goal that we have. What started out with an idea quickly grew into words on a page. From words on a page, it's now blossomed into the idea of a film. Ahmad has actually already gotten a grant from Portland, Oregon, from the Regional Arts and Culture Council. And in addition to the grant, that's a little over $5,000. We've now started to go into our pockets to pull our own money because it's something that we really believe in. With your help and additional funding, we'll be able to tell a story and bring this story to life in film in a meaningful and powerful way. Money will go toward actors, permits, equipment, wardrobe, all the little things that make a movie work.
This is a chance to help turn the tide from division and conflict to cooperation and peace of mind. And it may seem impossible that you could change the world, but one drop creates ripples, and thousands of drops create a river. Be that one drop that becomes a river that carves a new way of thinking about who we are and how we feel. This film can shift the tide to lift rather than crush us. Your donation today is a statement of your desire to make it so. It is your drop that encourages thousands of other people to make that step in solidarity with you. Put your mark on the world today and let your friends know that they can too. Thank you.
Dude, guys, I get chills every time I watch that. I think this project is something that I think needs to be heard by everyone, and it's a way for people to be able to challenge their own perspective and realize that the world is it's made up of everybody's perspective, everybody's personal experiences that they've had, and they take that into the way that they take in the world. So to be able to shift that perspective and challenge that a little bit, this is a huge project, guys. I really want to get into a little bit about the project, but first let's kind of talk about how you guys got to where you are now and how you met up, because I saw some footage of a Zoom conference, very similar to what we're doing here, and like you said, it started off as an idea that turned into words on a page, and that turned into what it is, what it's going to be, and what you're making out of it. So how did you guys kind of get here? Tell me a little bit about each of your backgrounds. You can start, Jonathan.
Man, it's quite a journey, right? I started picking up cameras when I was in college, and I used to just make stupid skits and stuff like that. And then it kind of graduated and grew bigger and bigger, and I was doing weddings, music videos, short films, things like that, to the point where I ended up, my company's still in Denver, but I ended up moving to Toronto to pursue a big career in the film and TV industry. And because my company's in Denver, I would go back a bunch, for certain jobs or certain clients and things like that. And that's actually how Ahmad and I ended up meeting. He happened to be in Denver at the same time. And just because, we all know how Google algorithms work, because he's currently in Portland now, but because he was in Denver when he searched for a videography company, my name popped up, and that's how we started connecting. And I heard him out. He told me he had this idea for this project, and for every 10, because I'm trying to think, Ahmad, did you hit me up on email first, right?
Yeah.
For
Twice.
every 10 emails that I get, or people reaching out to me on social media or something like that, maybe 5 of them are legit, and then of those 5, maybe only 2 or 3 hire me. And when I saw what he had, I was like, all right, who knows where he's going to be in one of those 10. And I just kind of dismissed it because I was traveling. He emailed me again, and when I was looking for my rental car, I was reading the email, and he told me what this project was about, and I was like, oh man, this is something we got to meet. And then
That's huge.
Ahmad was in Denver, and I happened to have a job in Denver, so we ended up meeting up. When our time in Denver only overlapped by like a week, I think.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. It's crazy just to think about how some of those things they seem to just come together by chance. But I think the thing that you have to remember is that when you're focused on something and you're pushing towards something, you're more readily available to accept those opportunities when they come out in front of you. So the fact that this was just a random, another email, that could have been from anybody, but the fact that you both are so driven toward your separate goals and you guys kind of brought them together for this, that's really cool.
And definitely, I don't believe in coincidence. Like everything had to happen the exact way because, like Ahmad was saying, I mean, you were working on this 4 years, 5 years,
4 years, 4 years.
And had the pandemic not happened, it probably would have been a play somewhere. And if it's a play, he doesn't need somebody to be a videographer. So everything ended up working the way that it did.
That's such a great story. That's such a great story. Ahmad, do you want to talk a little bit about your background and how you got here?
Yeah. So I come. All right. So first, I have a speech impediment that limits how fluently I can speak. So please bear with me. Yeah. So I'm from the wrong side of the tracks, and I for about two decades I engaged in the criminal lifestyle, and bro, like I did not like the police. We had had an acrimonious relationship. Like I would see them and just get angry. I have experienced what I call brutality, and when the murders started to become televised, I kind of entrenched myself on the anti-police side, and I how do I say this? I had an awakening, and I started to look or to try to put myself in a police officer's shoes, and in doing that, I started to recognize some of the gross hypocrisies on the side that I was on, and that encouraged me to start writing this, to doing more research, and that's how this script started, and then I started interviewing officers and members of my communities, and it was mind blowing. The information and the perspectives, and how those drive our behaviors, our bias, and just our general outlook on life. And I did my best to include all of that in this film. And did I answer your question?
Yeah, totally. And the fact that this was 4 years in the making for you, Ahmad, you talk about you having this awakening, and it's just amazing to me that being in the situation that you were in, and especially with the run-ins that you probably had with the police that were negative and not so positive, for you to be able to then go seek answers and do interviews with police officers and be able to change that perspective in your mind from the way that not only you were conditioned from your environment, but also the way that societally we're taught, as black business owners, as black people in general, to interact with the police. Like, the fact that you were able to challenge that and change that is why that makes this such a powerful story, because there are different perspectives for everyone. And I think that, for police officers, we don't know, what goes on in their lives or the things that have gotten them to where they are today. We don't know, the people that we call so-called criminals or have been in the system, righteously or not righteously. We don't know the experiences that they've had as well that have gotten them into that situation. So being able to bridge that gap and to find that understanding in between both of those populations, it's huge. It's I'm so excited just to see the film and see, the conclusions that you've come up with. But it's just amazing to me, like that concept of being able to switch your perspective.
Right.
I think really that's the only way that this film works. When Ahmad reached out to me, he didn't know who I was. He didn't know who my family was. He didn't know that I had cops in my family. He didn't know any of that. And I think it's important. I mean, I'm telling you, the script is amazing. Like, there's a very real reason we're trying to raise money to make this thing happen, because I really do think it's something that a lot of people have not seen before. A lot of people haven't considered before. It's presented in a way that they've never seen before. But like, I want to say the script, somewhere between 95 to 100 pages, plus or minus with edits. And within those pages, every viewpoint is represented. And I think that's one of the big things that's missing everywhere. You can watch Fox News, but you're going to hear what Fox has to say. You can watch CNN, but you're going to hear what CNN has to say. You talk to somebody in the hood, you can hear what they say. You hear a cop that is a cop in, Kansas, you're going to hear what he has to say. And chances are the people that he's talking to are only, they probably think like he does, right? If you sit down and you watch this film, you're going to get everything, and you're going to be forced to listen. I think Ahmad put it best. He says one of the things that this film will give an opportunity for is everybody will have a chance to have their side heard, because everyone's doing a lot of talking, but just because you're doing talking doesn't mean anybody's listening. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the cool things about this.
Dude, that's amazing. I'm so excited and anticipating that film coming out. So this is for both of you, and either you can answer this. And what is your vision for the impact that this film is going to make on the community? And do you see that being widespread impact? Do you see that being local impact? Like, what is your vision when you see this film coming out and people getting a hold of it and being able to kind of view the content that you're kind of pushing toward your target audience?
That's you all day, Ahmad.
I want people to have the opportunity to hear their side being expressed and validated, as well as the other side, and to be able to come to terms with the fact that they're right some of the times, but they're also wrong. Both sides, and to I want this film to encourage people to talk, right? To try to bridge the gap, to not have to bite their tongue, because they feel that that if they say what they want to say, that the other side will be offended, will put a negative label on, will put a negative label on them. I because I think that that fear of having this racist or or just negative label put on us stops us from 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 talking about the root causes, right? And so a part of what this film aimed to do was to put it all out there, right? It's out there. So if you have to, you can reference the film and use that as a talking point. I want people to have the opportunity to look at the real issues that police officers face and that members of the African American community face, and I want to like put a face on it to make it real, um, and to bridge the gap. Man, we have to start talking. We have to start talking, and stop yelling. Um, but also with talking, we have to start listening, right? Um, and that's 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 what I hope this film will encourage people to do, man. It's it's about time for us to just stop arguing, to stop saying no, we're right and you're wrong, and to see that there is value in on both sides.
And the thing too is like, uh, this isn't just for a small community. It's not just for I've been pulled over and I had this type of experience, so I'm gonna watch the film. It's for everybody because at the end, essentially, there's a call to action, and a lot of it is about personal responsibility, accountability, and the thing that I love about this the most is it's ultimately good and evil. And the thing is, this is a starting point. This is where the conversation happens, like Ahmad said. But it's not the core values that you get from this thing. It expands to all areas of life. Businesses see things that are right and wrong. Industries see things that are right and wrong. It's not just about this one aspect of life. You know what I mean? And I think when it comes to um, issues with the police departments and people of color, African American community, the thing that I like about this film is it's not just for lack of a better term, a dog and pony show. A lot of people do what they think looks right. Everything appears to be right. We're saying the right things, but it's like putting a Band-Aid on a problem. The only way that these issues can really change is to understand where everybody's coming from, have all the variables so you guys can talk it out and come up with a real solution. You can't solve a math problem if you don't have all the variables. If you're trying to solve for X and you have everything, like it doesn't work. And I feel like that's what we as a society have come to. I know how I feel, so I'm gonna try to fix the problem, but I don't even know how you feel. How does that work? It doesn't. And that's what the confrontation will address.
I love that. And guys, the fact that your goal is to start a conversation. The film hasn't even been produced yet, and we're already having conversations about this stuff. And that's what I love about the widespread impact that this has potential to make is just get people in a room and let's start talking, and let's do it in a way. I like that you say this film is not politically correct. I think that it's really important for us to be able to show the vulnerability of who we are authentically as people, and understanding that we don't know everything. The only things that I know are based on my experiences and my perspectives with the way that I interact with my environment. And so that's not the whole picture. That's only my piece of the picture. So if we can start getting everybody's point of view out like this film is doing, and be able to get all of those variables, like you were saying, Jonathan, it opens up this whole new perspective on how you look at your interactions and your relationships with other people, because a lot of them are based on experiences that no longer apply. So I really think this has potential to make a huge impact on anybody that watches it, and then wants to take action and do something about it. You know, I think this is very, very similar to kind of what we want to do at RMA is we want our entrepreneurs to be able to take action and get things done. And I think that's what this film, very similarly, you guys you don't just want to show something that's entertaining or something that you think people will enjoy watching. You want to get them thinking. You want to get them into conversations and starting to make changes. And I think that's huge. I think this has huge potential. Can you guys tell people a little bit about when you expect this film to be coming out?
As soon as we can, but honestly, we need people's help. I don't know if anybody knows this, but films are not cheap to make, and I know there's a lot of Marvel fans out there, and before that there was special cutscenes at the end of movies that you can look forward to. There's a whole bunch of names in those credits that nobody realized were there. It takes a lot of people to make a film, and so that's where we're at right now. Ahmad and I are we're putting pieces together for pitch packages, and we're trying to raise more money to get this funded. We're trying to reach out to people, and we're kind of at. Ahmad spent 4 years writing this. He's a writer. I don't have much to contribute in that realm, right? Then it came time to put it on camera and film it. We shot the trailer, which everybody can check out at if you go to theconfrontationproject.com, you can check out our trailer online as well. That's my realm, right? We put it on film and we did that. Now we're at a spot where we're looking for help from other people. This is the first film that we're full length that either one of us have tried to put together. And so, if there's anybody out there that has either the resources or the connections, that's honestly what we're looking for. And the quicker that happens, the quicker, obviously, movies can be made. But we want to do it right. We feel like if we take our time and we put the right resources, we get the right people behind it, that will maximize the reach that this project has, this film. And when you have something like this that I think is this powerful, you don't want just a few people to see it. We could have shot this already, super low budget, and just thrown it on YouTube or something like that. But this is something that everybody should have access to and should be seeing.
Definitely. Not only the subject matter, but the fact that both of you are working together. Jonathan, I know that you are very skilled at making sure that the stories that you're coming up with and you're shooting, you actually tell the story, the way that it's intended to be told. And so the fact that you have Ahmad working on this project for 4 years, he pairs up with you, Jonathan, and you guys together are putting all of your resources into making this. I have no doubt that it's going to be a quality film and something that definitely everybody needs to watch. So if people would like to donate to the project, can they find that on the website as well?
Absolutely. Ahmad, we've set up a couple different avenues for people to donate, right?
Yeah. So there is the GoFundMe page, which can be accessed through the confrontationproject.com page, and there's a way you can donate through PayPal, which you can also find on find at theconfrontationproject.com.
Awesome, guys. So last question for each of you. For our group of entrepreneurs, what is one piece of advice that you could give them that you've gained over the years of your experience through some of the things that you've learned from your life lessons? What's one piece of advice that you would give entrepreneurs?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead, Jonathan.
You trust yourself. I think in order to be an entrepreneur, you have to trust yourself. And I don't think that it's always going to be easy. Obviously, there's a lot of road bumps you have. There's, I've shot a lot of bad videos in my life. I've made a lot of mistakes, but those are going to happen. And as long as you trust yourself, you'll have the fortitude, I think, that you need to keep going. Because for any entrepreneur, there's going to be rough patches, right? But if you have it in your gut that this is what you're supposed to be doing, and you're a decent entrepreneur, you're going to be resourceful. You're going to find a way to make it happen. And there's a lot of companies, there's a lot of people, a lot of stories you've heard where they survived and thrived despite what everybody thought they were going to do. But it's because they trusted themselves that it worked.
That's such great advice. Thank you so much for that. Ahmad, do you have any advice for entrepreneurs that you can give them based on your experiences?
Yeah, I would basically second what Jonathan said. So perseverance, persistence always pays off. Don't quit before the miracle happens. And when you feel like quitting, remember why you started, and just keep pushing, man. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yo, yes, that one is huge. Do not be afraid to ask for your help. There was a time in my career where I thought I had to do everything. I thought I had to be the guy. I had to be the person that wrote it, did blah, blah, everything. That's just the ego. That's not going to get you anywhere. I can tell you the trailer was as big of a success as it was because I said I need help with a lot of things that I'm not good at. We had a great team in Portland, and even with like I said, with this pitch package and stuff like that, we're not proud people. If we know we need help, we're gonna ask for help because you could do it yourself and fail. Nobody does it on their own. So that's the other thing I would second with Ahmad. For any entrepreneur, do not be afraid to ask for help.
Dude, you guys have such good advice, and a lot of these are things that I've heard from other successful entrepreneurs as well. About perseverance, about definitely asking for help. I think that's something that kind of slips by people a little bit. Is you think that as an entrepreneur, like you said, you have to do everything yourself, and you have to prove to yourself that you can do all these things. But there are people that would love to help you as an entrepreneur. And you just need to make sure that you ask for that. So thank you guys so much for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Everybody, please check out theconfrontationproject.com. It has all the information that you need. If you can, please donate to them. You guys, this film is something that it's going to make a real change and a real impact on our communities. And I think it's something that everybody needs to challenge their perspective and be able to see things from different viewpoints. And that's what Ahmad and Jonathan are doing here, is giving us that different perspective on something that, like, frankly, it's very hard to talk about for some people because there's so much personal ties to a lot of these stories. So the fact that you guys are able to give different perspectives is amazing. So I just want to thank you guys again so much for being here on the interview.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you, brother.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you
Guys so much.
Thank you.
Please, if you haven't already,